Are we even gonna bother with like a segue or anything, or are we just gonna completely wing it?
I think we're going to completely wing it, and all of this is
Oh,
on the recording. I'll just leave it.
no, okay. Sorry, I'll
Yeah.
be quiet now.
No, it's too late. We're already starting. Hi, everyone. Mherex here, bringing you another video. This one is episode 11 in the D.I.Cable Guy podcast show that is world famous and world renowned. Know you've all been waiting on pins and needles for this one to drop. There were some serious issues with a computer part that had to be quarantined. You may have noticed last video there was some audio issues. We're not sure. We think those audio issues may have stemmed from that computer part. So it went through its quarantine process. It self-quarantined, by the way, and it is now back in the machine. And we're hoping that things go well this week. Got a lot of really cutting edge content to bring you and can't really afford this kind of thing to happen. So that's just a quick update. The computer seems fine. I know you're all worried about it. I'm fine. There have been concerns off and on that I'm still recovering from the cat RKO. Have had some post-concussion syndrome stuff and all of that, but everything seems to be fine now. We're fostering kittens, and in an attempt to, well, we were discussing our pre-show little talk that we usually do. The kitten pounced and hit the power cord, power switch on the surge protector, and powered the whole PC down. So, every time I do the show, there's always a chance that the foster kittens, my cats, my family, Mrs. Mherex, any of them could strike and make it an interesting show. So who knows what will happen. So buckle yourselves in and get prepared for the best Champions podcast around. At least I think so. So with all that being said, a lot to get to today. I want to start by thanking my guest. Today's guest is Dr. Agon. Super, super popular, high flyer, did some really great, amazing deep arm drags back in his TWO days. In fact, that brings me to the point. Today's episode is brought to you by two sponsors. First, we have the TWO. In fact, I believe, although perhaps my guest can clarify for me, the first ever arm drag done on televised wrestling was done in the TWO. I could be wrong about that. He's kind of more the factoid expert, so we'll see what he has to say about that arm drag, which he perfected during his career. And also, as always, it's brought to you by Big Red. It's delicious. So, with all that being said, Dr. Agon, welcome to the show. Super happy to have a TWO alum on the show today. How are you, sir?
It's good to be here, Mherex. Congratulations on, you said this was your 11th episode?
Yes.
It's crazy to think that you've been doing the show for 11 weeks now. Like, the time really just does fly by.
It really does. I wasn't sure we'd make it past like 2 episodes, but turns out at least several people watch. Now would be a good time to thank some of them. Southside Envy always tunes in. Usually has something good to say. Payroll always tunes in. Love having his input on the glorious Kurt Angle. Those two are big time watchers. We also have the celebrity Roberto De Niro. He likes to watch quite a bit, and he, in fact, I think might have been the first listener to take advantage of the button, although I'm not sure on that statistic.
I'm not so sure that good old Bobby De Niro watches anymore. He's been kind of silent lately.
He really has. I think he's been grinding so much in the game that he doesn't really talk much anymore.
It seems like we have Hansen climbing quickly in the ranks, except that Hansen and I have a slight beef right now. A couple weeks ago, I asked him to please collect his things and leave the server, and he's kind of squatting still. He's not, he's not listening to my eviction notice. I'm trying not to get the law involved with it, but I mean, things could get dicey.
So I missed some of this. What happened to make you want to evict Hansen?
I don't remember. However, at this point, the process is well on its way. There's no taking it back.
But I kind of like Hansen. They have some really good music.
Yeah, I mean, things used to be really good, and then yeah, something happened. I don't remember. It was probably something like he said something bad about dogs or good about Two Bob. Who knows?
He probably said something good about you, Bob. You're right.
Yeah.
Okay,
So
that's fine. We can evict him.
yeah, I mean, I don't think he's ever gonna leave, but let the record show that the eviction notice is in place and legally binding.
Yes. Correct me if I'm wrong, but wasn't there some what was it? There was something to do with Big Red and possibly some really not nice Italian men and rolling their truck over something. Whatever happened with that?
Well, I was actually going to talk to you about that offline. Um, that incident right now with your cat was no accident.
Wait. What do you mean?
Big Red. I'm pretty sure Big Red's out to get us, man. Like I feel that is a classic Big Red assassination attempt.
Wait. They use cats?
Your 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 foster kitten is dead.
What?
This they have planted a cybernetic operative, and that cat tried to kill you right now.
Wait. No. It's tiny and it's cute and it's adorable.
Yeah, exactly. You don't feel like you have to guard yourself around him. It's the perfect killer.
The only thing it killed was my surge protector.
Yeah, it's practicing for when it dumps the surge protector into the bathtub.
Bold of you to assume I bathe, sir.
You know what I mean. It's a generic assassination attempt. The point is that cat has been sent from the future to kill you.
Wait. I think I've seen this movie, but it was a Terminator.
Yeah, it's the heavymetic polyalloy.
Wow, you lost me. That was a big word. All right. Well, I don't
Anyway,
believe you. I'm willing to risk
just
it.
be careful. All I'm saying, Mherex, is be careful. There's a lot of things in this universe that you don't know about, and some of them are trying to get you, and some of them are trying to get us. So,
Well, I think.
don't worry about it. Just be careful. Is all I'm saying.
All right. Well, fine. How come you ignored my comments about TWO possibly doing the first televised arm drag? Is that not true? Was I wrong? Are you trying to make me look good? Do you not want to talk about it? And
no, I wasn't. I wasn't ignoring. I was more concerned about your safety. I was going to talk about that after I let you know that you shouldn't trust your killer cat. Because what if I led in with the arm drag, and then the cat proceeded to slash your throat mid podcast? How embarrassing would that be?
I mean, it might potentially make great television, though.
I don't know that, but you don't have a camera.
That's
so really,
true.
It would just be gurgles.
So it'd just be great radio, I suppose.
I don't know that gurgles are great radio.
Maybe it depends on the gurgle. Don't pretend to know my gurgle. All right.
True. But yeah, so in regards to the arm drag, there's actually a bit of controversy there. because even though you're right, it was the first televised arm drag. It wasn't broadcast television; it was closed circuit television. So there's a small organization out of Quebec that does that. Back then, they used to do a Saturday morning. It was terrible. It wasn't good at all. They would do a Saturday morning program, and they like to claim ownership of the first televised arm drag based on that. Um, but yeah, the first time that the arm drag was on television was indeed the TWO that you referenced. But yeah, people are like, "Oh, broadcast closed circuit." Yeah,
Okay.
it's all political. Arm drags are heavily political. I try to stay away from them now.
Really? So even though you were a master of the deep arm drag, now you just try and stay away from them?
Yeah, because it used to be about the arm drag. Now, people are trying to leverage the arm drag for their own personal conquests, and it's just I don't like what it's become.
Huh. I can respect that. All right. Okay.
Makes me sad.
I would imagine so. You were so good at the arm drag.
Yeah.
Do you ever feel like the pureness of the sport is gone now? Like with so many wrestlers breaking kayfabe and all the televised stuff. Do you ever feel like just the pureness of the show itself has lost something?
I think it depends. I mean, you have to evolve because people change over time. Just because you have society changes, you have new technology, people get used to certain things. Um, that suspension of disbelief that you would have some of the older generation. I'm assuming that's why you're asking me. The older generation tends to be quick to say like, oh, back in my day everything was better and blah blah blah, and it's
Wait, hold
different.
on. Are you referring to all the people that romanticize the Attitude Era and how it was the best storytelling ever, and then will conveniently forget some of the worst storylines that have ever happened were during the Attitude Era?
I feel like a lot of people romanticize whatever era they happen to grow up in.
So, I think you're right.
So yes,
Okay, so
I mean your example is applicable, but it's not just applicable to that era.
sure. So I want, as long as we're totally off on this tangent, I want to talk about, I think for me, in the last, 4 years probably of watching wrestling live, like, or, if not live, like, on Hulu the week after kind of thing, that sort of thing. At least for sure, my favorite pay-per-view event was kind of a nod to that old stuff in the sense that it was a secret. No one knew it was going to happen. He went to great lengths to keep his return under wraps, which doesn't happen often anymore. And I'm referring to Edge coming out at the Royal Rumble.
Yeah.
When wrestling gets stuff right, and when they do stuff like that, moments like that, whether you want to argue wrestling real, fake, not, of course it's fake, but entertainment or not, stuff like that, and the emotion and the energy from that is certainly real. And when wrestling does that and they get it right like that, it's pretty amazing. So regardless of the era, and that would be, current era, and actually that moment had no storytelling leading up to it. It was just the return of Edge. But it was the way it was done that was so amazing, I thought, in my opinion.
Yeah, I mean, the only way it could have been better would have been if Brock had thrown him out of the ring in 10 seconds.
I knew you were going to say that. But yeah, so, I mean, in-ring talent, I think there's no arguing as far as the talent. In-ring now is light years ahead of where it was from top to bottom. I'm not talking about individual wrestlers, but like top to bottom, you look at all the talent, and I think it's head and shoulders talent-wise. The depth is crazy. But yeah, a lot of times maybe the storytelling or the matches maybe aren't as good as some of the best from those eras we like to remember. But at other times it is. You take like DIY, still a better love story than Twilight. I mean, that was amazing. Daniel Bryan, Yes Movement was really great. Those are from, newer eras. I've really enjoyed watching Keith Lee, whether maybe not as much necessarily huge story arcs, but I like how he does his work. So I think we can definitely get lost in romanticizing eras. I grew up teenage years with the Attitude Era, so I obviously love it. Mankind's my all-time favorite wrestler. HBK is probably my second favorite wrestler, I would say, and they both were prolific during the Attitude Era. But I also think it's important to enjoy it for what it is and not try and pick everything apart or dissect it and just kind of watch and enjoy, if that makes sense.
Yeah, I mean, the in-ring product is for sure. I mean, I don't think it's even debatable. It's way better than it's ever been just because of the athleticism and, like you said, the depth. In terms of, you mentioned, greatest love story, I think number one, you have to go with Macho Man and Elizabeth
Of
and
course.
Hogan. But one that probably very few people know about is Kenny Omega and Kota Ibushi. That is a very they're referred to, or they used to be referred to as the Golden Lovers, and it's a it's a love that's gone on for years, and they've been very good about keeping that um, bromance slash maybe romance. You don't know together, even like interviews, things like that. There's a very nice interview at some comic book convention where they ask Kenny Omega why Ibushi isn't in AEW, and he tears up and he gets choked up, and he says like, "Oh well, I knew that if I asked him to come, that he would come for me, and I couldn't do that because I knew he had so much left to accomplish." And he's like, "I'm sorry, I can't talk about this." And it's great. I love it. The commitment to the bit. So yeah, I mean, while you can say, oh, there's that suspension of disbelief, people are not keeping with Kafabi. Um, some people, yeah, still doing it. I mean, you don't have heels spitting on kids as they leave the arena or anything, but I mean, come on, there's only so much you can do.
Yeah, I mean, that's probably a good thing.
Yeah. I feel like we should just give up on the Champions podcast and pretend that this was a Smart Foundation episode,
Yeah, we kind
and
of got
that
side.
this was the intention the whole time.
I mean, we kind of got off track there, but I mean, I would assume almost everyone playing this game is a wrestling fan, so they're probably not unhappy about this sidetrack. And honestly, there's probably only the 4 or 5 people we mentioned that are going to listen to it anyway.
Yeah, I mean, if only you could edit, we could use this for other things. But
I mean, one day I'll edit.
no, come on, don't lie.
Dude, that's a lot of
You're
work.
yeah,
That's a lot
you're
of work.
embarrassing yourself.
It's
No, I
honestly,
know.
it's
That's what I'm saying. Like, why bother lying, saying that you're ever going to do it? Just accept that it'll never get done. I'm fine with it.
Yeah, well, honestly, I think we're at our best when we're just like kind of throwing random crap out there. If I know when I start thinking, that's not necessarily a good thing. You probably can think, but I don't recommend I try it.
I mean, you should at least try it.
Dude, don't you remember what happened last time I tried?
We said that we would never talk of that again.
Right, exactly. So why are you trying to make me try?
I'm just saying.
Whatever.
There's a time and a place. There's a time and a place for everything.
Isn't that some famous line? There's a season for all things, and never mind. It's not important. So WWE champions. Wait, well, before we get into that, since we've been on a 19-minute tangent here of ridiculousness and some real wrestling, do you have anything?
I wouldn't say that it was very ridiculous. I mean, we once did an entire introduction about pizza toppings.
That I
Speaking of which, I wanted to talk to you about cookies. Go ahead. Sorry, I'm not done with this tangent yet.
I was
So if
just
you want
gonna
to get into
say, arguably one of the greatest things on this planet is pizza, and I would argue that perhaps that might have been our best intro ever.
I believe that was the infamous Robo What's His Butt episode.
Probably that sounds right. Where I ordered pizza live on the show.
Yeah, I think.
Or no,
There's a
was
lot
that
of
a
debate.
different one? Yeah, I don't know.
I don't.
It doesn't matter.
There's no way. There's no way of knowing.
Yeah.
I think there's a lot of heated debate as to. I mean, I'm pretty sure where you stand on this, as to whether pineapple is
No, don't bring.
acceptable.
It's
on a pizza.
unacceptable. Unacceptable. For all you listening that think you can put fruit on a pizza, you're wrong. Well, you're not wrong. You can do it, but you shouldn't do it. Just because you can doesn't mean you should. So you pineapple pizza heathens need to stop. I'm here to tell you, it needs to stop.
You know, Mherex, there are people that gave their lives just so that if someone wanted to put pineapple on their pizza, they would have the right to do so.
I'm not saying they
So
don't
for
have
you-
the right.
For you,
I am
so for you
saying
to-
they shouldn't.
you're infringing on these people. You're saying that it's not allowed. I mean, what kind of police state are you running here, where you want to try to dictate what people can and can't put on their pizza? If you don't like it, that's fine. But this is America, sir. And in America, pineapple can go on pizza.
It can, but it shouldn't. And if you put pineapple on your pizza, I would argue that perhaps you're a communist.
I mean, I like pineapple on pizza.
Exactly my point.
I mean, have you ever really looked into communism? They make some good points.
I haven't looked into communism in depth, but I mean, I think that's probably something for another show.
Oh.
And we'd probably have to come up with a third podcast if we were going to start discussing things like that.
I wonder if we could get Nikolai Volkov on that.
What about Rusev's not too busy right now? We could probably get Rusev on.
What are you talking about, dude? He's in AEW now.
Yeah, whatever. I wouldn't want Rusev on the outside chance Lana might show up, and no one wants that.
Also, did you just call Rusev a communist?
I didn't say that. Did you just call Volkov a communist?
No, I just implied it.
Okay, then. So, your cookie. Let's talk about your cookie.
Oh, no, I was going to say, you asked the question earlier if the cookie that I had was the greatest cookie I've ever had. And I said no. I mean, it was a good cookie, but I wouldn't rank it that high.
What is the greatest cookie?
Well,
what's your favorite cookie?
Well, hold on. You're getting ahead of me.
I know. I love doing that.
I was going to say that, and a while back, I made the claim of the best steak that I've ever had, but I don't know if I could really break many foods down in terms of this is the best X that I've ever had. Like, do you have any that stand out? Like,
Ooh.
This is the best whatever?
Wow. That's right. You're right. That's very hard to do. Like, how many times have you ever said, without a doubt, this is the very best of this particular food I've ever had? Yeah. That's a good question, honestly. I think, to be fair, I think a lot of times that depends on a lot of factors, right? So, like, if you go someplace and you're having a crappy day, the food usually doesn't taste as good as it does when you're having a good day. As weird as that sounds, I actually kind of think that's true. Also, how hungry you are, you can play a factor into it, how much you've been craving that particular thing. So I don't know, like, and some things, like, so I don't know that I've ever had the perfect pizza, to be honest. Like, usually there's one of the ingredients that I find lacking. Like, so sometimes the cheese is amazing on one pizza, and then maybe the crust is meh, or all of it's good and then the sauce is just way.
Don't your toppings consist of sausage?
Yes, but not all sausage is equal. For example, I
No, that's
hate.
fine. I'm just saying. I'm like, you're saying like, oh, usually one of the toppings, but I mean, really,
There's cheese
your
is a
topping was sausage.
cheese is a topping.
Yeah, I was gonna say that's another argument. Like, I was gonna say, do you consider cheese to be a topping?
Yes, I would also consider sauce to be a topping because it goes on top of the bread of the pizza.
So when you order a one-topping pizza, do you just say
I knew you were going to do
get
that.
the sauce?
I see where you're going with that, but to me, anything that goes on top of the crust is a topping because it goes on top of the crust.
Yeah, and this goes back to the whole. We had a similar conversation about grammar on the server where it's just stupid words. Words don't mean anything. Only numbers mean anything.
Oh, as long as we're talking about the server, I also want to talk about, aside from the computer part, never mind. It doesn't matter. I'm not going to bring it up. I'm sorry.
I'll bring it up.
No, I don't think we should.
All right.
Unless you really want to, you can. But anyway.
You're scared. I'm not gonna.
Whoa. I'm not scared of anything, sir. Except for snakes and my wife when she's mad. Those two things scare me.
How do you feel about clowns?
They don't scare me. I just hate them.
Yeah.
And the only good clown...
I need to find a picture of X-Pac dressed up like a clown.
Oh, the hate would run rampant. It would flow through me like I was the emperor.
Speaking of X-Pac, we should probably talk about acrobats at some point.
Yeah, I mean, we'll just smoothly segue out of the best cookie food thing that we never finished because we just transitioned into other things, and you debated my topping.
I thought we did. Well, I thought we did because I think the whole point of that was that that's something that's very difficult
to quantify,
to ever really define. Like, yeah. I mean, it would have to be, and that, I mean, that goes to show how amazing something would have to be for you to definitively say that.
Right.
I would argue that people that can say that they can definitively say that for multiple things are all liars.
You might be onto something there. Never thought about it that way.
No.
Okay.
I mean, not complete, but whatever.
So to the show.
Wait, so are we done with pizza? I thought we were.
I mean, honestly, I could do a whole show talking about pizza. It's not. We just, if we don't start on the actual show, we got like feud starts in 49 minutes. I mean, not that I can't feud while we talk, but because I could. But yeah, we should probably start.
It's not, and it's not like I'm gonna do much feuding anyway, so I don't care.
You don't care, yeah. And I could just feud while we talk, so it's not that big a deal. Honestly, I got 8 hours. I only need 3.2 million points. I'm fine. It's gonna be fine. I'm telling myself I can relax.
Oh, are you that close to maxing it?
Yeah, I'll pull it up. I need 3.2 million. I had 2 really good first feuds. The ladies' feud was rough, and I think I passed out around 2 a.m. I just couldn't stay up any longer. Oops, wrong button. I need 3.3 million. I'm just a shade over 10 million. So I should be able to max it with the feud that we're gonna have.
Well, good luck with all that.
Yeah, thanks. It's just mainly playing too much, really. Setting a decent lineup and playing a lot. It's not like other than that, it takes any super real skill.
Yeah, but I mean, it's effort.
It is effort, but you know that. I'm kind of a tryhard. You've called me out on that before. It's not wrong.
Yeah. Well, I mean, we said on the first episode that's how you roll. That's what you're about. So I'm not here to change you.
I'm just disappointed in myself that I'm going to be using Zombie Austin. I really am disappointed in myself. I have no other way to phrase it than that.
I mean, He's not bad. I don't know why.
I just don't like using him. He isn't bad, but I don't like using him. There's a I just don't like it.
That's fair.
Yeah.
I think that's a big thing. Like, it's an asterisk that sometimes is missed. Um, I think you are very quick to just say someone isn't good when really what you mean is that you don't like them.
100% right, actually. Well, like I will straight up dismiss Slick Rick as because I hate him, but he is good. I just would never use him. X-Pac is there's a chance he might be one of your better acrobats, but I just for some reason, and it doesn't make sense why I don't like X-Pac because he does a lot of the things that I like. I just hate using him.
I think it's the facial hair.
You think?
I think so. He's got this kind of like untrustworthy goatee situation going on.
You know what I want to talk about before we get into the acros real quick? What do you think about this new break contract thing?
Oh, it sucks.
Right?
Yeah, because the benefit of changing the trainers was that you could put it on and see what the effect is going to be before making the decision of going ahead and breaking it and applying it. And now just to see what the impact is going to be, which, yeah, most of the time, I mean, you can just do it in your head, but it's nice just to have it there and preview what the impact is going to be before making the decision.
Yeah, it's kind of annoying.
So,
You can't see it ahead of time.
Yeah. I kind of get why, because with the whole mechanic that they've added about being able to use people multiple times,
Yeah,
it makes sense for them to have a different format of it, but they really do need to incorporate a preview of it still. That's my biggest complaint.
No, yeah, I think so too. Yeah, I'm not a fan of it. Usually, newer stuff, I try to give a little more time, before I weigh in, and because a lot of times we just hate stuff because change is change, and people don't like change. But this one, and I think you're right, it is straight up for the affiliation straps, because otherwise, I don't think there's gonna be any way to set multiple trainers without having a break where you can choose which one you want to break it from. So I think it had to happen, but it's not fun.
Yeah, I mean, all they would really have to do is just on that screen at the top, just show what the move is going to be.
Yeah, they just need to add something to it.
Yep. Yep.
Okay.
I'm kind of disappointed. Those speaking of those straps, are they ever going to do anything with all these coins that we've been collecting that are usually for straps?
I hope so.
Because they kept, I mean, the thought was that, oh, okay, yeah, you're going to use them when the straps come out, but then they brought the straps out and they're tied to loot coins.
Right, which I haven't even bought one of, because you look at this garbage, right? Featured 7.5% chance, and there's no guarantee on a lot of them that you get it looks like there's only 4 featured things, but you don't know what they're weighted, and I just no, I'll just get them when I get them. It is what it is. I'll pay to move the trainers.
Yeah, I mean, loots in general aren't a good proposition.
No, the odds aren't in your favor.
No, so anytime, I mean, when you're doing one of those things, like if you're thinking about potentially getting one of those packs, really look at the other stuff that you're getting. Assume that you'll get nothing from the loot coins and make your decision based on that. And then if you do happen to get something from the loot coins, great. But assume that you're not.
I would agree with that. Okay. Are we ready to start talking about whatever it is we're going to talk about in game?
Yeah, I think acrobats is what I was leaning towards. If you're fine with that.
Yeah, we'll do. That's the only class I don't think we've completely dissected at this point, and we can probably work some other stuff into it while we do it.
Uh, yeah, I mean, with that, we did the cream of the crop for the text, so I think it kind of would be easy to just kind of start that way. Maybe quickly discuss who we think the best guys are. Then from there, we can talk about some other guys that are solid.
Yeah.
Um, Round people out with the trainers and females, and then depending how much time that takes, maybe we also play a game.
Ooh, games are fun. I think you're right. Yeah.
Yeah.
So just to recap, we have some, since it's our show, we have some exceptions. Like we're not including any of the Hall of Fame guys. Sometimes we're just not including any of those super rare, heavy paywall guys. Like for
Unless we have them, in which case,
yeah, then we
seemingly
include them.
we're including them very easily.
Yes, if we have them on our roster, then we're all for including them. So, but if we don't and they're deemed super rare, some of them we just kind of pitch out the window. Like Masters of the Universe Undertaker for Tex. I mean, I've watched videos. He looks strong. He looks good, but I don't know well enough, and so few people have him. I don't think it really matters for our conversation. So we kind of just pitched him out the window. And we're gonna do that with some things, and we'll have some.
Go ahead. I would say for Acrobat, Zombie Undertaker would be another. We should just throw him out the window kind of guy.
He's rare. He's pretty rare.
I think maybe we should just throw all Undertakers out.
Why not? Let's just hate on the Undertaker.
No.
No. He is the rarest of the zombies. The only acros I think I'm missing while we're on this subject are Zombie Taker, Steamboat, who I wouldn't probably put in my cream of the crop anyway because I'm annoyed with the event, but maybe I would. And then I'm missing Ricochet, Ray, and Macho.
Yeah, so I mean, I would say, isn't there a Hall of Fame acro?
Probably, but Lita's not acro.
I think Lita female is an acro.
Is she acro? She's acro. Yeah, that's the Hall of Fame acro. We don't talk about those Hall of Fame guys though.
Yeah, so I mean, personally, I would say no. I mean, I guess no Lita because we're not really doing. I guess we could do a female bracket separately, but maybe when we're done with this.
Yeah, we'll do a female one after this one, maybe.
Yeah, my personal people that wouldn't count for that would probably be Steamboat and Zombie Undertaker. Those are seemingly the ones that I feel are the least common. Which, the thing is, both of them are really good. So it's another one of those things where, like, yeah, if you have them, they're good.
Right.
Like, don't
crucify us. Yeah. I think Z Taker is better, but I think it also can be with the way he breaking the traps gems. It seems to usually blow up the whole board and make a bunch more, but that can also sometimes be somewhat random. So I think there's that portion to it too. So when he goes off and does the right thing, probably the best acrobat. But, that's also dependent on a bunch of the traps breaking too, which granted they will most of the time. So he's pretty consistent. But yeah, I'm fine with leaving him off. Rest of the guys, I think it'll be interesting to see because Acrobat is to me, it's an interesting class. Like, people like to hate on showboats the most and say they're the worst class. And maybe they are, but the gimmicky guys in showboats like the Fiends, the Dangos, the Z-Canes that can do interesting stuff are very, very good and actually most of the time pretty fun to use. I would also, every time I use this isn't a showboat one, so I'll just kind of make this short. Every time I use like Piper, I'm like, I should level him up. He's really good. I think Acrobat I know Acrobat is the class that I like to use personally the least at this point. And I almost never use them. Hopefully that'll change once I finish leveling my Masters of the Universe Triple H up. But I would say right now, if you were to ask me what my least favorite class is on my roster, I would say Acrobat.
So let's start the bidding at Masters of the Universe Triple H. I would say I would want him in my Fab Five for acrobats. You have any issues with that?
None whatsoever. I would have picked him as my first as well, actually.
So, just quick recap on why he's so good. If you have Farouk at 9K, he can literally blow up the entire board, and he'll probably do it every turn. And the second time you do it, if you want to put multiply gems on the board, you can do that also. So yeah, that's not bad. He has a submission, which can be turn one. So if for some reason you wanted to use that, let's say you had a difficult tour match where you needed submission to kind of hold things in bay, or if you wanted to use him as a feud turn one sub guy to hold people in check, he has that added versatility. He's got multiple builds that can be turn one and feud. Is just really, really good character, I feel.
Yes. Like you said, turn one with Woods and Farouk. You don't even need Drew anymore now that Farouk has a 9K. Literally, you blow up the whole board. Like, I like to run Andrade and 9K Z Charlotte on him for 50%. Mm-hmm. 50% purple gems on the starting board. So there's very little chance I'm not going to have the purple gems I need to recycle it. And then the second time through, you got the 2 columns of multi-gems. So of all the acros that can use multiply gems, he is the one that suffers the least, in my opinion, from getting nerfed by the multiply gem trainers, because you're still blowing up the whole board. So I feel like he's the hardest to defend against of them. He may not have quite the high end turn one, let's say like a Ricochet could potentially have. However, he's way more consistent and less prone to being nerfed by the multi-gem trainers. So yeah, I honestly, granted I don't have Ricochet, but I do have Andrade. I would put Masters of the Universe as my favorite, or the best of them. So no arguments with you picking him.
I feel like we're probably not going to have too many arguments. I mean, you mentioned 2 guys, which I would say both of those guys need to be in there also, both Ricochet and Andrade.
Yeah,
I was confused with that.
No, I was going to throw a Ricochet out there because even though I don't have him, because he's so good turn one in the hands of the player. Sucks with the AI, so he's not a good defender. But yeah, I was going to throw Ricochet out there, and then you probably would have said Andrade anyway. So that's the top 3, I would say.
So with acrobats, I think a big kind of portion of it, because I mean their gem damage isn't great, but they're very fast. So the guys that are the best are going to be guys that either can buff their own gem damage with these multiply gems, or in the case of, Triple H, where you're blowing up the whole board. So I mean, even though it's less, it's still, something that's going to be useful. The next, I guess, major multiply gem user within the acrobats would be Mysterio. I think neither of us have Mysterio, but how do you feel about him in the top 5?
So, caveat: you need both gears. I think with both gears, Rey Mysterio is one of those absolute top tier acrobats. He's probably in the top 4, for sure, with the gear. With the 2 sets of gear. If you don't have 2 sets of gear, he moves down. If you have no gear, I think he moves way down. But yes, I do think, because we're assuming, although in Andrade's case, I don't think we're assuming gear for him because it's still really rare. But I mean, I think Rey is top tier. He just to get the most out of him, you need both sets. A lot of my friends that have him say he hits like a wet noodle unless you have the gears, so they're not impressed by him without the gears. And the ones that have him with both gears say he's amazing. So also a great coach. He creates an extra blast gem and does more damage on blast gems. So super great coach. I want him more for the coach than actually using him, to be honest. So yeah, I would say Ray would be absolutely in the fourth, and then the fifth one should be really interesting conversation. I think it could probably go, knowing you and me, it'll probably be one of two guys.
Well, I was gonna say maybe we even hold off on for sure putting him in as the fourth. But yeah, if you want to put him in already as the fourth,
I mean,
I'm fine with that.
we could hold off because of the gear factor, because like I said, not many people have both gears, and I think to be in the top four, he probably needs both.
Yeah. So let's put a pin in Ray for now. Let's call him a solid maybe.
Okay.
Another multiply gem user, Jimmy Uso.
So Uso plays like the non-board blow up Jimmy, or sorry, not Jimmy, Triple H, basically. Mine isn't leveled very high. He's 3-star gold, 5K. Do you have him?
No, I don't have him.
So basically, you run him with the purple set. It's not turn 1 and feud though, because it's 8 MP. Swap an area to blue gems, then you choose an area to put your multis down, and then the finisher destroys most of the multis. So once he starts, he's cycling for days. He's just not quite as fast. I would put him just outside of the top tier because he can't start turn 1, and multiply gem coaches are going to really nerf him, but I would use Jimmy before I would use X-Pac or a bunch, that. So I'd put him at the very top of one tier down from top tier. So if you call that tier 2, I would put him at the very, very top of tier 2.
All right. So you already said that you think X-Pac is below him.
Yes, 100%.
In terms of that, which again, X-Pac, he's basically a not as good Triple H, because he's blowing up a lot of the board, and he's refilling his moves up, which Triple H is doing the same thing, except that Triple H is blowing up the entire board, and he also has added utility from the submission, and he has added versatility of a secondary move set, which I think some people might consider it the primary, the Choose Blue.
Yep.
I think Choose Blue is way better than Destroy Random Blue, which would be X-Pac's secondary.
Yes.
And he has multiply gems, which X-Pac doesn't have.
Correct.
And he can be turn 1, which, unless you're using the secondary move set, I think the blue purple for X-Pac is much better, but it can't be turn 1. So yeah, I think X-Pac is good. I don't think he's for sure not as good as Triple H. And yeah, I would say whether he's better than Jimmy or not. I think I'd probably agree. Maybe a little bit below, but still very good.
Yeah, I would put like the X-Pac and Jimmy at the top of one tier down from the top tier. Definitely towards the top of that one. So,
all right, let me throw a wrench into your thoughts, which maybe not the wrench that you were expecting. So a double wrench. Eddie Guerrero.
No, I was waiting for this because I would make Eddie. I've always really liked playing him, which maybe is weird based on a lot of stuff because he's heavily sub based, right? He's got a heal, which I love. Low charge moves, which I like. Eddie isn't super fast, but freaking Eddie just wins. He always wins. So honestly, after the first 3 we have, and assuming I don't have any gear for Ray, which I don't have Ray at all, then for me it kind of goes to 2 potentially 2 or 3 people, I start talking about Eddie or Stinger or Jimmy would be where I would go after those. And Eddie was my first 4-star gold acrobat. His 5-star move is kind of cool. It's a super low charge, or you can swap 2 rows. So, and if you hit the blue match, you recycle it. So you can keep swapping blue moves every time you make a 3-match moving the rows. Again, not fast, but man, he's not going to lose a lot. Low charge moves. He was my first farmer. Actually, I think Sting was my first farmer. Yes, he was. Eddie was my second, who I started farming with second. So got a lot of hours logged with both of those guys because of their low charge moves. So love their versatility. They don't lose a lot. It's just they're not the speed I like them to be fast to use them anymore. I don't really use them much. Sting at 5 stars got some amazing moves. I know this what we're doing, we're not really talking about with 5-star because there's so few in the game, so we're more basing a lot of this off of the 4-star sets, but I believe both of them will have legs at 5-star. So Eddie is one of those guys I love, plus he's Eddie, and just wins a lot. Amazing for tours, and great for farming because he can heal himself and all that stuff. You can heavy focus the subset. You can heavy focus the healing set. So also maybe someday with 5 stars, find a way to make his color turn move work. But you can do some cool hot tag stuff with color turn gems with Sting and Eddie together and stuff like that too. But nothing that's going to be like game changing or going to use in Showdown. Just you can throw a bunch of color turn gems on the board and do some fun stuff. So, but I really like Eddie. And Stinger both. I'll let you talk about Stinger though.
So personally, yeah, I mean, Eddie's really good. I think I like Stinger a little bit more. Like you said, Eddie's not going to lose. Stinger is, I feel, going to be faster. You can cause more damage with the random blues that are going to be localized into the color change gem area. So you have the option. I mean, if you have the gear, especially, you could run him to try to improve the strength of the submission, which you didn't mention their coaching abilities, but Eddie is going to help those blue submissions. Or you could do extra gems. So if you have the gear and you're making extra blues, I mean, you're going to do a lot of damage with all those blue gems. And then you're going to follow it up with the submission. And then you only really need 1 green match to get things going again if you have the green +1 MP coach. You don't even need that in feuds or when you have MP perks enabled. So I think Stinger Stinger's more offensive. To me, Eddie is more defensive. But yeah, they're both really good. Stinger has the gear, which I think gives him an even, bigger kind of bonus tipping things towards him. I feel like Stinger is very underrated because you don't really hear people ever talk about him as being one of the top acrobats. But yeah, I think after, the for sure top ones, I think he's right there in the discussion of who might be the next one, and that might squeeze him into the top 5 depending on how we make this decision.
Yeah, so the gear adds +3 to the blue gems. So if you have the gear and you're at least at a 4-star silver, with NXT Seth, he's doing 10. The gear makes 13, so you're making 13 randos into blue. And his 5-star,
and it's not completely random because it's only
that area. Yes,
color term area.
Yes. So
if you pick, so that area is what, 25 gems.
Yep.
So if you pick an area, like right away, that's half the gems.
Yep.
And if you pick an area that already has some blues, well, it's not going to turn the blues into blue.
Right.
So you're gonna end up with more than half of that area turning blue.
You're
So
probably looking at anywhere from 16 to freaking 16 to 18 gems into blues. It's really good. Plus, his 5-star move is a blue that cycles red. So it's a blue move that cycles as red. So then you can use the Bulldog, which is a red move. And if you have the gear, you could instead of NXT Seth, you could just use Big John Stud to make more reds. There's a lot of stuff you could do at that point, but you basically cycle the red and the blue back and forth, and you're just blowing stuff up for days. I know a lot of
yeah,
people.
I was gonna say I feel like with the 5-star previews, like people were talking about like, oh man, Stinger's really good at 5-star, but I think he's really good already, and people just
Sleep on
aren't
him.
giving him the respect he needs.
Well, if you look at his sub damage, even at 4-star silver, he's doing 9k a turn. Assuming blue at some point is going to get the sub coach like Bruno for tech and Nikki Bella for tricksters, you get a sub coach on him, then he's doing like 15k at 4-star silver a tick, right? So eventually Eddie gets a 9k trainer that adds 20% damage, you'd assume, like Z-Brock does and Zombie Austin have. You assume that eventually happens. So he's got one of the strongest damage-wise subs in the game. And it's pretty low charge and easy to get to. It's 10, not super low charge, but it is low charge when you consider the blue area. So yeah, Stinger is really, really good. Honestly, I would do Stinger before X-Pac. I have X-Pac 4-star silver, Stinger 4-star silver. and until I got Masters of the Universe Triple H, Stinger was who I was going to take 5-star gold.
Yep. So let's see. Yeah, I would probably rank them same. I would put Stinger before X-Pac and Eddie. All right, let's just go ahead and get out of the way. I'll let you talk about Macho Man.
I don't have him and you do.
That doesn't mean you don't know what he does and you can't gush over him, because that's what you want to do.
I mean, I do and I don't. I want him because I don't have him. And he's the guy that's been in the game the longest, that I've wanted the longest and don't have. He is a little bit high charge on his moves, but once you get going, he definitely goes. He doesn't move the pin bar. Those kind of guys are very fun for me to play with. I just really enjoy that. If you have Elias, he's really good. The plate, although they may have changed that plate now to be at the end of your turn, so I don't know that the plate helps him recycle as much anymore. That bears looking into. The plate where you break the blues and it gives you black, or black and it gives you blue. I can't remember right off the top of my head. It's the one I have on Big E. I can look and find out, actually. But yeah, guys that don't move the pin bar are just super fun because you can keep doing a lot of stuff, and he's got a choose move, so you can choose and keep recycling that. Keep recycling that stuff. The bad attitude plate, when you break 3 or more blue gems, gives you 3 black move points, but I think now it actually is at the end of your turn, so it's not nearly as good on Macho anymore. And it's only okay on Big E now, so it changes a lot. But anyway, Macho can do that thing where he doesn't move the pin bar and get a bunch of damage, and you can basically, once you start going, you can potentially win on that turn if you can keep it going. So that's kind of why I like him. It's just a little bit too high charge move, so you're never going to use him in Showdown, and Feud he's going to be turn 2. But you have him, so you can kind of cover on what I just said there.
Yeah, I mean, I think if that black costs 7 instead of 9, like, I think this would be a different conversation.
Mm-hmm.
But another thing that you didn't mention is when you make 5 matches on moves that don't move the pin bar, you get an extra turn for every 5 match that you get.
Yep.
So if you can create multiple 5 matches, then you get multiple extra turns, which is useful when you're just trying to milk, an extra 1 or 2 MP just from the extra turns, and trying to fish to try to refill the black.
I think
so.
I
Go ahead.
think I think Elias is a pretty big key too,
Yeah.
because then when you make a 3 match, what in feud don't we get like a +2 MP bonus too? Usually, if you have that perk for a match, is it 2 or is it 3? I can't remember right off. But
Yeah, it's two. So
yeah,
you
so
basically you end up with 7 after you make the match,
right, if you have
assuming
Elias.
that you have one. Mherex, did the cat get you?
No, I was gonna
Uh,
let you talk.
no, yeah, I was like, so if you end up with one, then you do the 3 match. That's 3, so now you're at 4, and then you get 2 more. That's 5, 6. So then the next turn you would have 7.
Right, or if you have Elias on there, now you're getting 8 on the next turn.
Yeah. So yeah, he's the good thing though is that you can get to the black without an MP coach in feud. So if you just, I mean, even with the MP coach, he's not going to be turn 1 anyway. So at that
Right.
point, you're better off doing like gem damage, like blue gem damage or something like that. Um, and now suddenly you're able to do even more damage. So yeah, if you're fine with, you know, the fact that he's never going to be turn 1, then yeah, he's really, really good. But it's just that some of these other people are really good and they're turn 1.
Yes.
So, but yeah, I think he's good. Like you mentioned, I have him every time I use him because he's required or featured or something like that. I always finish the match thinking like, man, this guy's really good, and then I never use him again. Um, which yeah, maybe that says he's not really good, but I think it's more going back to like what we were talking about. Like he's really good, but there's other people that are better, and especially in other classes. So
Yeah.
given how long he's been out, the fact that he's still really good, I think says something to how good he is.
Yeah, if there's a guy in the game that I think is very likely to get gear at some point, I would say it's him, because they still have him super rare. He's a fairly paywalled character, like with no real
He's a
way.
fairy?
Fairly paywalled character with no real way to get him other than get lucky and pulls, and they don't ever weight him heavy. I would not be surprised at some point to see him get like +3 to blue gear, or +3 to black, or +3 to black, or something like that with Macho. It wouldn't surprise me at all to see him get gear someday. That's no inside knowledge. It's just based on how rare he is and the fact that he's pretty good, and they seem to like making the Macho Mans in this game strong. I think he would be one of their prime candidates for gears. Again, no inside information whatsoever, but that would not surprise me at all, because he's still super rare.
Yeah, I mean, I guess the real question is, are we going to have a Randall Mario Pafo Invitational Cream of the Crop tournament without the inclusion of one Randall Mario Pafo?
So you picked first, I picked second, you picked third. Just to be
Well, I mean,
safe,
I
my
don't even think it's about, I don't even think it's about picking. I mean, I think like right now, I think we're good with the 3.
yes.
So we have 2 slots that are kind of open that I think there's really like maybe 4 or 5 guys that could potentially fit.
So I would probably pick. I would probably want Stinger and Macho in for the last 2, personally.
So you're leaving out
Eddie,
Ray, Eddie, and Jimmy.
Jimmy easily. Uh, Eddie is hard because I like Eddie, as he's fun, and I loved him as a wrestler. So Eddie's harder. Um, and Ray, if you got the gears, is definitely better than the 2 we're talking about. I just feel like that's a lot of caveats. And 1, Ray's rare, and 2, most people don't have both sets of gear. They maybe have 1.
So I think Stinger, I'm fine with. And the others, I don't feel strong enough one way or another. So if you wanna get Macho Man in there, whatever. It's our bracket. We can do whatever we want.
Hey, it's the cream of the crop
Hon-
invitational. All the machos go
Honestly,
in.
honestly, this is who I want in. I'm going to say Stinger, and this is going to be, bear with me, Stinger and Bailey.
Nope, I agree. I was if there was a so you know how most of the females are copies of male move sets. I don't know if there's a character I want a copy of more than Bailey. I want some one of the males to have that move set. Friggin',
I
she's
mean,
a beast.
I've said before, I just want to fight dudes with Bailey.
Yeah, she's fun to use and good, really good.
I mean, it is our bracket. I mean,
You won't. You know what? Screw it. Let's do it.
all right. I say Bailey's in.
Okay, Stinger and Bailey. Sorry, Mr. Poffo. It's your invitational, but Bailey's gonna nudge you out.
Yeah. I mean, I feel like he would want to pay it forward to the kids, right?
Oh, absolutely.
So so it looks like what we've ended up with is Triple H, Ricochet, Andrade, Stinger, and Bailey. So I think there's some other people now. Now, most of those people, well, Bailey is by far the least rare. Everyone should have her.
Yep.
Um, but now I guess we could talk about some people that are still good, and that maybe because not a lot of people have Triple H. Not a lot of people have Ricochet. Not a lot of people have Andrade. I would say medium people have Stinger. I mean, he's kind of rare. I would say he probably is rare, but not to the same level as those guys we just talked about.
Yeah, and I would say Eddie would fall in that category because he's one of the I think tier 13 or 12 or 13. I think Eddie's one of the guys in the free loot, the silver loot. So not necessarily will you have him if you're free to play unless you got lucky, but I think Stinger and Eddie are fairly good chance for you to have if you spend a little bit on the game. So I wouldn't classify them as super rare, certainly obtainable.
All right, so I would say most of the guys that we're going to talk about now, probably everyone should have.
Yeah.
So we were talking about how multiply gems make the acros better. Two guys that also use multiply gems and that I think are pretty good. Let's start with Callisto.
So he used to be he got nerfed. His blue gem damage got nerfed at 4-star because he was so good. Because he's so fast. 6 MP green move, and you're choosing where to put your multiply gems. So, and I mean, mine's only 3-star gold and they're strength 3. So you put, Matt Hardy on there and find a 3 match of green or blue, and Bob's your uncle, And then for 8 MP, he's choosing another 5. This one into multi-gem strength 2. And then, of course, the finisher destroys 5 multiply gems. So you're basically, long as you got a blue or a green match somewhere on the board, you're going to have a heck of a heyday with Callisto. So really good farmer because you can throw the chooses on the multiply or the loot boxes too. So if it's like Stardust and all those and Volkov, the nerfs that are going away at 5-star. That's not to say they won't bring them back, because they might. But Callisto would not be nerfed at 5-star, and I think he would, depending on how high the multiplies get and stuff, that could be super interesting too. But yeah, Callisto, heck of a farmer, can do some pretty big damage, and really, really interesting movesets. Like I said, he used to be one of the ones that got used very, very often. So definitely you should have him on your roster. He's not hard to get, and he's very solid with lots of utility.
Yeah, I would compare him to Stardust for technicians, where everyone is so quick to just say, "Oh, he got nerfed. He's terrible now." It's like, well, no, he's still pretty good. I mean, he's not as good as he was, but there's a reason for that. It's because he used to be really, really good.
Right.
So, yeah,
Certainly
maybe
usable.
not someone that you would focus on, but I think someone that is good, so worth mentioning.
Yes, I would agree. And his trainer, I believe, is Protect Gem thingamajobby. Yeah, they reduce
Yeah, it
damage
should
taken.
be percentage.
Yep.
Yeah. So one thing, as long as we're talking about that, let's talk about math here for a second. So there are people that do increased protection on the gems, and there are people that do increased gems. So Mherex, which one is better?
More gems.
Why?
It adds up to more.
Okay. So it actually doesn't.
I know.
Oh, well, why'd you say the opposite?
Because it'll stick in people's minds more now.
Oh, all right. So let's say you have this guy at 50%. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So if there are less than 8 protect gems on the board, and let's compare him to Booker T, who makes +4.
Sure.
So if you have 8 protect gems on the board, then that would be the equivalent of getting the 50% bonus in
Right.
terms of the amount of protection that you get. But
Yes.
once you have more than 8 protect gems on the board, you're going to get more protection out of the 50% than you would by just having 4 more.
So what you're
So I mean,
saying is if I generate 6 Protect Gems, Callisto is worse than Booker T Harlem Heat. But if I generate 8, they're equal.
yeah.
But if I generate 10, Callisto is way better.
Yeah, so for example, let's say you had a guy that makes 6, right?
Yep.
So yeah, if you were to use Booker T, he would give you 10, which is more than 8. So that means that you'd be better off with Callisto. But let's say you had a guy
But you wouldn't have Booker T on him because it would be Booker T or Callisto.
right, I said you would be better off with Callisto. I may not have said that. Like I said, words don't matter.
Wouldn't you be better off with Booker T?
No. So it's how many you end up with. So for example, if the guy already makes 6, and then Booker T gives you 4 more,
yes,
then you end up with 10.
Right, but you wouldn't have Booker T equipped because it would be one or the other.
Yeah, I'm talking, yes. The question is if you have to pick between Booker T or Callisto.
Yes.
So the scenario is I have a guy that makes 6 protect gems.
So Booker T's better.
No.
Why not?
Because if you put Booker T on, I see what you're saying. Yes. So
if it's either or, wouldn't I need to make 8 for them to be equal before I pick one or the other?
Correct. Yes.
Okay.
So, yeah. Sorry, you're right.
Okay.
Now, so really none of this matters. The main thing that matters is Dango.
Yes.
Right? So the whole point of all of this is when you're using Dango, you end up with a lot more than 8 protect gems.
28, yes. On his finisher.
Yes. So ending up with 32 instead of 28, not gonna be that big of a deal.
Plus, it wouldn't work anyway. But yes.
Yeah. And yeah, they are different strength levels, the gems. So I mean the math isn't just clear a 1-to-1 comparison, but the point that I'm making is don't quickly assume that making more is always better than buffing the ones that you have.
Oh, for sure.
It's the same thing with Hardy and multiply gems.
Yeah.
If you're not making a bunch, then you want to make more, but if you are making a bunch, then you want to make them stronger.
Exactly.
No. So, speaking of Hardys, um, Jeff Hardy. So
Jethro.
he is he is the copy of Wendy Richter,
No,
and don't let anyone tell you otherwise.
you're so wrong. He is the copy of himself. Wendy's the copy of Jethro.
That's very disrespectful.
Jeff,
Go ahead,
I
talk
think
about him.
Jeff is the best free to play acro. Recycle one of the better pure recyclers. Only downside is he takes 8 to get started. That's only the only downside. You don't need matte on him. I kind of like the Cesaro to recycle the green, assuming you have more than 4 greens on the board. That's the way to go. Although that might get higher at 4-star gold, and you may no longer need Cesaro, and then you use you would just use matte instead. But one of the better.
Yeah. Like honestly, I think you might be better not using matte because most of the time you want to make sure that you don't cause a pin.
Exactly. Yeah, and you want to, so you just cycle through all of his moves all the time. One of the better pure recyclers. So a really good free to play acro. Definitely like Jeff. Like the way he plays. So I think he's pretty solid.
Yeah. So yeah, no issues there. I think he's really good. And like I said, if you don't have one of the other ones, I think probably someone that you should focus on, at least short term. I mean, it's tricky because you'd like to think that eventually you'll get someone that'll be better,
Mm-hmm.
whether that be from one of these free guys that's given out, or from an event. They've been giving out pretty solid people lately in events. Um, so yeah, maybe not saying go out there and put everything into him, but if he's who you got, I mean, yeah, I would say 4 bronze. Probably you're not really going to hurt yourself if you get him there. He even has a 9K ability, so yeah, Matt
Yeah.
Hardy pretty.
Yep. Jeff is really good. His trainer ability solid for the cross break guys. So definitely a fan of the Jeff.
Yeah, they're all just words don't matter. Stop saying words.
Right. Exactly. You're not on your A game today, Dr. Agon. Not gonna lie, but that's okay. You're making me look smarter.
It's just words. I mean, I don't. I get very. What's the word?
I think you
I
look
think we should
you
just move on.
well, you look at things from a multiverse standpoint. You're a numbers guy, and basically the whole world looks like Matrix code to you. That's what you see. We see other
Yeah.
things. So as we're not, you're this is your second or third or probably 50th language that you're speaking on this show.
Words are just the things that get in the way of ideas.
Okay, I like it.
Yep. Yep.
So real quick, let me just mention that feud has started. So as a bonus to our viewers, they're gonna see me.
Stream.
Yeah, they're gonna get to see me do feuding while talking and probably feud poorly.
That's fine.
So if you hear me sound super irritated, it's because I'm just facing a zombie Austin and zombie Kane, and one of them got me in a stun loop, and I want to throw things.
I mean, that's your own fault for not stunning them first.
Right, which I should do anyway. So yeah, I will let you continue to direct the acro talk, and I will happily chat about them. But usually I bring them up on my screen for the folks that are also watching to see.
So I think for men, those are going to be your main guys. I mean, people that are also kind of useful, but I wouldn't really level them, like to the 4 gold range, for example. People like AJ, another guy that was really good, but just kind of runs out of steam.
Mm-hmm.
The higher up you go. Daniel Bryan's kind of interesting because he makes so many multiply gems. It's kind of easy to refill his moves, and his finisher, because it just does damage, it hits pretty hard for an acro.
Yeah.
So he's kind of interesting. For sure, you need him at 5K, but
I
yeah, I
be-
mean,
I believe, if I'm not mistaken, at 5 star, that Daniel Bryan gets a sub as well.
no. So I mean, someone maybe eventually that you could look into, but I would probably wait to see if you pull him or get him at 5 star or
Oh
four
yeah, yeah,
star. I'd say get him the 5K and then kind of keep going on about your day.
indeed.
Um, so talking about trainers, other trainers that are useful, we have Christian, who's very useful for cream of the crop candidate Bailey.
Mm-hmm.
Um, Seth Rollins, also very useful for multiple acros,
And
non acros also, but
another free to play guy that you could make a case for being a decent one for people to take up while they're waiting for one of those top tier guys.
yeah, I would say he's probably going to be one of the guys that, if you're starting in the game, um, I'd say if you're just starting and you get, I don't know if they still do, what was it, that $10 pack that has AJ in it every once in a while.
I don't know if they
I
do
would
that or
say,
not anymore.
I would say if you're brand new to the game and you see that, that's probably something that you should get involved with.
Indeed.
But otherwise, yeah, someone like Seth, um, at maybe 3 star silver is gonna really get you through a lot of the beginning part of the game. And then yeah, I mean you want him at 5K anyways, so 3 star silver is probably a nice little spot for him. And then if you want to do him more for whatever reason, he's NXT, so he does have some value there, but
Yep.
not necessarily someone that needs to be focused on.
Agreed.
We have Edge giving you gem damage for the blues.
Mm-hmm.
So especially depending on what type of mode you're playing, sometimes you shouldn't be using an MP trainer or you don't need an MP trainer. So someone like Edge is going to be useful. Uh, there's actually a couple of guys. Rob Van Dam also blue gem. He's another guy that's kind of recycles and does some interesting things. He's one of the he's one of the original gem buff guys. So I think now there's there's a couple of people that buff their gem damage. But I mean, this poor guy is doing it. He's buffing his gems by like 20%, and now I mean, people are buffing them by like 150%. So it's like,
Poor
but
RVD.
yeah, yeah, cool character. I mean, kind of useful, but I think probably just for his trainer ability.
Yeah.
Um, a guy that I wish I could level, but I'm probably never going to. Also, useful trainer for his blue move is Sami Zayn.
Yeah.
So, you want to talk about Sami a little bit?
Yeah, so he's got a health steal finisher. If you have the right guys, he can buff that. Plus he assuming they haven't I did this backwards, oh well. Assuming they haven't fixed it, he is one of those guys that frick, I'm doing so well here. His heal gem, if the opponent matched it, was it was healing the pin damage, so it was almost like a protect gem. And I don't
Yep.
think that's been fixed ever. So that's pretty dang cool. And
Ended up working kind of like a botch gem, but better.
yeah, exactly, like a better botch gem. That's a good comparison. Thanks. I'm kind of was struggling there because I'm thinking
Yeah, no.
way too hard here on this board. Yeah, so Sami Zayn is one of those guys that was always kind of on my list that I really wanted to level because I felt like he could do a lot of cool things and he could do some healing. And then a lot of guys came out and he lost some of that appeal. His health steal does get huge on the finish. Well, maybe not huge, but I want to say with like it's around 90k-ish at 5 star, which probably is no longer huge anymore. But certainly has some potential. Should be a very good blitzer as well. Um, but yeah, another guy that I like for the blue move damage, and then has some utility and other stuff. So worth working on a little bit. Probably again not one of your best, but he's probably not terrible either.
Yeah. Another guy, utility guy. So at this point, we're talking about guys that you would level them if you have a top guy that needs them as a trainer. So remember when we're talking about your roster lineup, you probably want to get your main guys leveled up, get your MP trainers to 5K, and get the trainers for your specific top guys where they need to be. So someone else that kind of fits that mold, Sin Cara. So he makes additional multiply gems. So we talked earlier about additional versus increased strength. So depending on the people, maybe you want to use Sin Cara, maybe you want to use Matt Hardy. That would be something to look into. Another situational guy is Kofi. So not quite as good as his tech variant. He has a move that destroys additional blues, which we talked about Cesaro, how destroying additional greens is useful. I don't really know if there's a guy that gets used that destroys blues. I mean,
X Pac,
that,
right? If you use the black build.
yeah. So X Pac and Seth, his his finisher destroys blues.
Okay.
So if those are people that you're using and those are builds that you're using, I mean that's someone that you're gonna want to get leveled to some extent. And then yeah, I mean there's people that kind of probably aren't worth leveling at all because you would need to use props or some kind of weird setup. So people like Demon Valor. Now I notice you'll see people use um, Demon Valor sometimes. Uh, so he has multiply gems do 35% more damage,
Mm-hmm.
which sounds great. But the thing is, it's similar to the coaches where like the cross break gem does more damage or the blast gem does more damage, right? So you have to really look at what type of setup and what type of gems you're going to be using because it might make more sense to buff the gem itself because that buff is going to be higher. So for example, with Edge, um, you can buff blue gems up to 35%. And then if you use two of them, now we're talking about double 35%. Or, if you're using a multiply guy, it sometimes doesn't make sense to use the one buff if that's going to be less. Like, let's say you're going to put it on a specific gem, right? So let's say you have Finn and he's at, oh, I don't know. Let's just say he's under leveled because no one has a leveled up Finn. Let's say he's at 1,000 talent. That's only 15% multiply gem damage. Well, if you're putting the multiply gems always on a specific color,
Right.
then you're better off buffing that gem color instead of buffing multiply gems.
Sometimes too, you're better off even using the gem damage than say you are even using Matt Hardy, depending on what's going on.
Yes. So, yeah, I mean, with trainers, I mean, it's maybe in some cases you're thinking too much because at some point, okay, yeah, whatever, it's not going to be that big of a deal. But in some cases, yeah, you could substantially be making a big difference by changing your trainers. So just because, and I would say Balor is a good example of that. Like, if you have a low level Balor, which you probably do, he's probably not the best guy for the situation that you have.
Yeah.
And then yeah, I mean, other people. There's blue move damage coaches. We talked about those. Someone like Cena, less damage from blues, not really something that you're going to be interested in. Um, Dolph Ziggler, what's this guy do? Heal gems give more health. So I remember for a while, I remember that wasn't working. So I don't know if it was Ziggler or Mankind where it wasn't working properly. I don't know if I mean this was so long ago. I'd like to believe that it's working by now.
I think it is, and also with Mankind getting the 9K trainer, he makes more heal gems and buffs their strength. I think Ziggler's kind of not quite what he used to be trainer wise.
Yeah. So I mean that's um, also because we have no contractual obligations. We can talk about Chris Jericho.
Oh yeah, certainly we can.
So Jericho is kind of interesting, but he's another guy that kind of fizzles out as the health pools and the damage increase. So at 4 star, he can be very quick and do a lot of damage. Well, like turn one, turn two. Um, but then after that, his damage doesn't get as large. He has gear, which gives you a blue gem charge buff. So it would be the equivalent of if you had Trickster Andre, where you get an additional blue per match, which is something. I mean, he has a submission move, but yeah, I mean, not someone that I would say you probably need to put a lot of focus or effort into. His trainer ability isn't really something. It's less damage from color turn gems. But if for some reason, let's say you have him, let's say you pulled him a long time ago, if you have him at 4 star, yeah, I think he's he's pretty solid.
Definitely
But
usable.
assuming that you're facing people similar or lower. I mean, a lot of these people that we're talking about, the top tier guys, those are people that are going to be able to, destroy people that are on par with them and be able to beat people that are actually better than them. So that's why if you have a guy that's good against people that are good or worse, he's not really that good. Um, Speaking of someone that's not really that good, which people are wrong, uh, Naomi. Let's not forget the ladies.
Oh yeah, that
So I mean, Naomi and women in general very submission focused. So a lot of the gameplay is revolving around getting to the submission and using the submission. So her, I mean, yeah, same thing. She's using the submission, and then she has a move to break heal gems, which are left by the submission. So basically, if you're doing that right, you should be able to fill the submission up with a single red match every time. And yeah, if you're doing a 6 turn submission every turn or every other turn, like if you're somehow losing doing that, I'm not sure what you're doing.
but you're doing it wrong.
Yeah. So Naomi, yeah, not someone to focus on, but definitely a lot better than people are under the impression she is. Um, Someone who probably is the true cream of the crop that we're completely disrespecting is Alexa Bliss.
She's like a bad Sting.
No, 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 no contrarian statement was made. We have our winner, Alexa Bliss.
Bliss isn't
She's a
bad.
not. She's a not as good Sting. She's not
Yes.
a bad Sting.
Uh,
Because as we said, Sting is very good.
right.
But yeah, same gameplay. The problem is her moves cost a little bit more, which means that they're not ready turn one. But yeah, she's making an area into color turn gems, turning those color turn gems into blue. She has gear, which makes additional blue, except it's just one, not three. So yeah, literally very close to Sting, just not as good, but way cuter.
Yes. No argument whatsoever.
So Alexa Bliss, she's probably one of those people where uh, if you have her, yeah, she's probably pretty good. I mean, the problem is that unless you were unfortunate enough to play after Bailey, then you for sure have someone better.
Right.
So sadly, in terms of women, Yeah, you need to be leveling Bailey as your acrobat female.
Yeah, Bailey is really, really, really good.
So, are there any acrobat based themes that you want to discuss still? I think we
Think
kind of put that in. So to recap, uh, multiply gems make a big deal for acrobats.
yes,
Cream of the crop. We're ending with Triple H, Ricochet, Andrade, Stinger, and Bailey. So
yes.
interesting. Three multiply gem users and two color turn gem users. So
Would we give, if we were giving honorable mentions? Would we give honorable mentions to Macho and Eddie and Ray?
yeah, I'd say they're, like I said. I mean, we mentioned um, they're right there. I think we both feel Sting brings a little bit more to the party. Um, but yeah, I think they're all very good, and they would be, yeah, the honorable mentions. So at some point, I think we have a couple of wild card picks.
Mm-hmm.
So they would be kind of people in the running for that.
Excellent.
So with that in mind, sir, do you have time for a game, or
I'm happy to play a game.
all right, sir. So to refresh you on the rules,
Yes.
you get 20 questions. You One of the questions has to be your selection. If you make a selection and it is wrong, no matter what guess it is, you automatically lose the game. Um, Questions about what era are they, what class are they, etc., cannot be made until your 10th selection. And even then, you can only use one. Then, after your 15th selection, you could use the other one. And we can't do questions where you keep asking a question in increments until you get to the exact
Amount of
number.
copies. So
Exactly. So anything where it's like, is it one? Is it two? Is it three? Anything like that, no good.
and I can still. Is it a male or female? Is that question still on the table right away,
Um,
or is that one
yeah,
banned until later?
yeah, I would say that's a pretty powerful question. I would say that one. Should probably keep that one until, I would say, 15, because I
Okay.
mean the other ones, those you have six choices. Male, female is just two.
Okay.
So all right, let's see. I'm sure you'll find some way to weasel your way through this, and then we'll have to change the rules again next week.
That
So I'm
hurts.
excited to I'm excited to find out how you weasel this week.
That really hurts, sir. I think that's completely uncalled for, by the way. I
That's
don't
fair.
I don't know why you would say that, but you've said it, so it is what it is. Okay.
Yeah.
So um whew. Does this character use multiply gems?
Yes.
Ooh. It does. And I can't ask classes right away either, can I?
Correct. You can't ask that until question 10, or so you can use class or era starting at question 10, and
Okay.
then you can use the other one starting at question 15.
Okay. So it uses multiply gems. Does this class use or does this person use row breaks?
I don't believe so. Let me do a quick check. No, sir.
Okay. Does this one use column breaks?
No, sir.
Okay. Does this person have a submission?
No.
So multis, no submissions. Interesting. Very interesting. I'm gonna have to. Good thing feud's over. I need to consult my roster. Does this person have green moves?
He does not.
Oh, an extra question.
You're on thin ice there, sir.
You said he, so thanks for the free question.
I may have said that. It could have also been misdirection.
It could have been, but it probably wasn't. You have yet to pick a female, so. Okay.
So what is that? Question 5?
You're the one keeping track of the questions. I'm just asking, fam.
Yeah. I think it's probably 3 or 4, but I'm gonna invoke a penalty, so I'm gonna say it's 5.
Why? Because I found. Does this person use purple moves?
We said that you could not ask iterative questions.
You said like 1, 2, 3, 4.
Yeah, I said, or questions like that where you would keep asking until you got to the answer.
Okay, so it's a multiply user that doesn't use green. I'll go with that then. Oh. Shoot. I can't sort by multi-gem users. How do I narrow this down? Does this character have a beard?
Yes, that's 6.
Ooh. Multi-gem with a beard. So it's definitely not a female. Okay. What if it's someone... Oh. Aha. I think I'm on to you. I think the game is afoot. Does this person have... let me get this right. Have the Mexican tag link?
Mexican, you say?
Yes.
He does not.
Oh, so it's not Andrade. Okay. Multiply gem user.
7.
No green moves. And a beard. I don't think Sin Cara or Callisto have a beard. I need to double check that. Let's just sort this class by Acrobat. No, Sin Cara's got green. Let's start with Acro. No beard. Jeff has green. Seth has green. Could be Jimmy.
And for
yes,
future reference, I'm keeping track of all these questions. So
does this person have the Usos tag link?
No.
Dang it. So it's not Jimmy.
So I will say that has created a pattern of tag link iteration.
Oh, come on.
More tag link questions.
Come on. That iteration is makes it really hard for me to find a loophole.
Yeah.
I don't like that. I don't like that.
That's why I did it.
I don't like that. What does Darren Young even do? If it's not Darren Young, it's none of the Acros. Oh, hold on. Ha ha ha. All right. Is this person still with WWE?
Let me check. It's a good question.
I thought so.
I'm going to say yes, just to confuse you.
That's not fair. It has to be a right answer.
I don't When was that ever a part of the rules?
What, sir?
So I'm going to say yes, but the answer is probably no.
What? You can't do that.
Confusion complete. So the words coming out of my mouth are yes, but the answer is no.
What?
I couldn't have made that any more clear.
That's clear as mud. You don't have multis.
I mean,
Hold
repeat
on.
what I just said.
Yes, but no.
I said the word coming out of my mouth is yes, but the answer is no.
But you could just be lying because you're a liar. How far away am I from Era, being able to ask Era?
One question. So you're at 9.
Does this character carry a weapon in game? Like their card, does it have a weapon?
Do any of the guys have weapons?
Yeah. Like Triple H has a sledgehammer, Bludgeon Brothers have weapons.
Okay. Seems like a mistake.
Yeah.
Why would they be allowed to use weapons?
I mean, Luke Harper's got a hammer in his hands, so that's kind of why I'm asking the question.
No, for sure no weapon.
What? Okay. So now I can ask Era. So this is taking longer than I thought. All of your rules. Are you there, sir? I think there's been a problem. I think we might have lost. I think we might have lost Dr. Aegon.
Mherex, what year is it?
It's 2020.
Okay, good.
All right, you're back.
That could have gone a lot worse than it did.
Excellent. Well, I'm glad it didn't go poorly. Okay, I can ask Ares now. Yes.
Yes. So I don't know what happened during that cosmic rift, but yeah, sure. Go ahead and ask Ares.
Is this guy from the PG era?
Oh hell, I don't know. I'm gonna say no, but that's not the actual answer. I'm just saying that so that there isn't dead air while I look it up.
What?
Does that make sense?
Yeah. No, it makes perfectly good sense. You're trying to look.
Yes, he is from the PG era.
All right.
I say that. I guess I didn't confirm it. There's just a PG thing behind him where he's standing, so I just assume.
Okay. In the interest of feuding time, I'm gonna make my. I don't want to be wrong because I've never lost one. Okay.
I mean, you have 9 questions left, or 8, something like that. You have some amount of questions. I'm sure you could.
But I can't ask. I can't ask class yet. Correct?
No, not yet.
Okay. Does this guy's first name start with a D?
It does.
Okay.
However, that question is in violation of the alphabet question.
That you're gonna implement next time, apparently.
No, that was one of the original rules. I just didn't repeat it this time.
Oh, all right. Well, I feel comfortable. Good. I feel comfortable with my guess now.
Okay.
I'm gonna guess Darren Young.
So Darren Young is not incorrect.
Oh, ha! Yes.
Ha!
I win again.
Ha! Indeed.
Ha!
Yes.
I.
So Darren Young, someone that um you will never experience his warm embrace.
What do you mean? I have him.
Do you?
Yes.
Oh, all
There's
right.
a lot of the older guys I'm missing, but that was not one of them. You jerk! I see exactly what you were trying to do.
Yeah, I assumed you didn't have him.
Because I'm missing a lot of the older ones.
Yeah. So good job. Yeah, I was kind of confused. I didn't see why you wouldn't ask something like, "Does he wear a black T-shirt that says Primetime Players on it?"
Well, I thought that was just too whatever. I don't know. I'm trying to think to the future and what you're gonna ban on me here. So,
Well, I think when you're at the point when you're really trying to make sure you don't make the wrong guess, like I think at that point, yeah, it's fine to ask a question like that.
well,
I
plus, I
think,
mean, that doesn't really help for narrowing it down. Like if I'm taking a stab in the dark, the odds there's only one guy in the whole game with it, so I guess that makes sense why you'd allow it.
yes, that's the whole point. It helps you. It helps you feel better about your guess when you have extra questions left, as opposed to trying to be a weasel, which is what you're trying to do.
What? I
Very
am
successfully, I may add.
I am not either a weasel. Just because I can beat your game, you need to stoop to insults.
So, for the record, I'm not trying to beat you. I'm just trying to have fun. Remember, games are supposed to be fun, Mherex.
They are?
Quit turning this into a tryhard.
Stop. Everything I do, I try hard at.
Exactly. Stop it. It's embarrassing.
Rude.
All right. Are we done yet?
I think we're done. I mean,
How-
we've went
How
an
long? How long?
hour.
How long? How long was I gone in the multiverse?
Oh, you were only gone for about 15 seconds. That I noticed. You could have been gone longer, but I really don't listen to you too much, so.
No. Well, so I was gone much longer, but when I came back, I wanted to see how close to reality I came back into.
Very close.
So, yeah. So the question was, how long did you? Sorry, how long did you perceive me to be gone? Is what I should have asked. I apologize.
That's okay.
Again, words just get in the way.
They do.
They really are. They really are the worst.
Words are the worst. I think we have a title for this episode. Episode 11, Words are the worst.
All right. Anything else? Anything else you'd like to talk about? No. Cheap plugs.
Well, I mean, this is brought to you, as always, by Big Red. It's delicious.
Yeah. I mean that may keep them from sending a second cybernetic cat assassin to your house, but
I hope not. I don't want to see another cybernetic cat assassin.
yeah. So here's hoping.
Do you imagine if they jumped on the power thing now, hour and 52 minutes into this, and killed the whole show, and we would have nothing?
I mean, would it really be that big of a loss?
No, not to the people. Just our time,
Yeah.
which isn't worth much anyway.
Yeah, it's fine. But by all means, Cat, do your worst.
No, don't listen to him, Cybercat.
I feel like that'd be a good Mortal Kombat character.
No arguments. The fatalities could be really cool.
Yeah. All right, let's wrap this up.
Okay. I think that's really about it. So you guys should remember to like, subscribe, share. Definitely leave comments. We love hearing you guys' comments on the show. What you like, what you don't like, what you're thinking. If you want to leave derogatory comments about Dr. Sparks, I'm always for that. Other than that, guys, I appreciate all your support. And, good luck out there.
And as far as I'm concerned, Hanson, you're on thin ice. Take that, round table. And as always, remember, guys, it's just a game. Have fun with it. Did you turn it off already?
I'm trying. It's off now.